today, the Labour Party came into contact with reality.
So therefore, I have great pleasure in introducing our Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, and before I do, please, we know how we all feel. We know how we all feel.
Go to Palestine! Shame on you! Shame on you! Go to Palestine! Leave us alone!
David Lammy was heckled. Manchester's Jewish community shouted, "Shame on you, go to Palestine. You've enabled this," they said to him. Then he had the brass neck to start speaking and call the local Jewish community his friends and talk about how, gosh, we mustn't be divided.
That is why we stand in defiance of those terrorists who seek to divide us.
We mustn't be divided. Why don't you just go and say that at one of the hate marches and stop resorting to calling everyone you disagree with a Nazi, you know? What else stood out to me? Well, there he is on the scene of the most shameful terrorist attack against Jews, an attack that comes after a tidal wave of anti-Semitism, in my view, just totally ignored by his own party, and he can't even speak from the heart. He has to read out a pre-prepared speech, probably written by somebody else, from a piece of paper. There he is, fumbling away with a sheet of paper. I think David Lammy got the reaction he deserved. He was an incompetent Foreign Secretary who nominated Jeremy Corbyn for the Labour leadership, hasn't done anything near enough to stop the outrageous Jew hatred we've seen right across Britain, and he helped embolden them, in my view, by jumping on a bandwagon and banning arms to Israel. And then there's this as well. Whilst David Lammy was Foreign Secretary, Downing Street implied that the Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu would face arrest if he ever came to Britain. Sir Keir Starmer is just doing pre-prepared statements. And notice this, he isn't taking any questions.
That Britain is a place where you and your family are safe, secure, and belong. Thank you.
Yeah, off he goes. He's probably trying to avoid what happened the last time he properly interacted with the public after Southport.
Bye-bye. It's not your fault. Make a real change, Prime Minister. Make a real change! Are you going to change the ball?
Or when he went to Doncaster races. Or when he goes to football matches. Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, says she's disappointed that protesters have not stepped back.
Those messages are utterly disgraceful. They are fundamentally un-British in nature, as far as I'm concerned. I would have wanted to see people in this country, step back from protesting for at least a few days, just to give the Jewish community here a chance to process what has happened and to begin the grieving process as well. I am very disappointed that some of the organisers haven't heeded the call to step back.
Well, it's not a shock, really, I don't think, because, she's been on some of these marches, hasn't she, before October the 7th? People are angry. Tony Blair's Labour government gave a Syrian jihadi called Jihad a British passport in 2006. He was reportedly on bail for rape. In my view, Labour has fanned the flames of Jew hatred in this country, and when David Lammy was booed, he got exactly what he deserved. Let's get the thoughts of my panel on this evening. I appreciate, it's a very heavy news agenda tonight, but we're going to do it anyway. Adam, your views on the Lammy booing?
Look, it's very heavy topics tonight, but look, this is about speaking the truth and speaking what the people of this country think. And this Labour government is the most hated government of my lifetime, including Keir Starmer. David Lammy got exactly what he deserved today because he's a representative of a government that has appeased a terrorist group in Hamas. We should never have recognised a Palestinian state when they are still in control. They are murdering their own people. We are seeing chants on the streets of London to wipe out Jews around the world, calls for jihad, and from the river, from the sea, and no action is ever taken. We've had 2 years of this. And my Jewish friends now, I know 2 that have already gone to Dubai. They're moving to a Muslim country in the Middle East because London is too dangerous for them. Just let that sink in. What has this government done?
What do you reckon about David Lammy being booed today, Christo, and heckled?
But I'm surprised he isn't booed and heckled everywhere he goes, to be honest, because of his, let's just say, less than sterling level of intelligence, and that's me being kind. Naming your child Jihad. I mean, like, can we just, like, talk about that for a moment? I mean, you know, you're a new dad. You didn't consider the name terrorist? I mean, ridiculous. I'm sorry.
I decided not to call him Crusade.
Yeah.
I thought, no, gosh, he looks like a little crusade, doesn't he?
Do you know why...
Holy War.
Well, yeah, exactly. All sorts of names you could have chosen instead, and I don't know why you didn't go for them. The reason that people are angry, though, on a more serious note, is because our leaders have failed us. Now, this person who supposedly carried out this attack, as you have pointed out, was already known to the authorities for an alleged different crime, as were the people that carried out the stab attack in London Bridge in 2019. Khalid Massoud was known about the assault in Westminster in March, previously been investigated. Salman Abedi, the Manchester bombing, previously investigated by MI5. London Bridge Borough Market attack, previously known by MI5. How many times? The list is longer. Lee Rigby's killers, previously known. So I'm not surprised people are angry that this is all known about, but nothing is done about it. But then we get the response, don't we, from our authorities, and all of these pontifications from our authorities today, like Keir Starmer, who gave this speech reassuring the Jewish community, but was there one mention of what this is, Islamic extremism? No. Was there a mention from Sadiq Khan about what this is? You know, this woolly statement, oh, everyone has the right to sort of, you know, worship in peace and quiet. Of course they do, but let's call what this was, what this actually was. Muslim Council of Britain, they have sort of said, oh, everyone has the right to sort of, you know, we condemn all terror. No, Muslim Council of Britain, you should be condemning Islamic terror, because that's what this was. And people finally, we're not going to solve the problem unless we have responsible conversations where we outline what the problem is. That is not to say all people of the Islamic faith are in favour of any of this. Of course not. But we're failing them by not having the truth in these conversations.
Yeah, no, look, is there anyone who would like to make a point on this or anything related to this topic? Do you want to talk about this up at the back as well? But yeah, go on, sir, what would you like to say?
Does anybody else feel like...
Oh, sorry. The gentleman with the microphone, and then we'll go to you at the back. Sorry, mate.
Hi, I'd just like to get the panel's view on... I feel we should back our police, 100% our armed police. They have a very difficult job to do in a split-second decision. Yeah. You know, it must be incredibly difficult, especially when he looks like he's got a bomb belt tied round him. Yeah. What are they going to do? To talk of prosecuting the police is absolutely ridiculous. Needs bin in straight away.
Yeah, good. I mean, and just to clarify as well, that was the other, I suppose, big news of the day. There's a lot of big news today, but the other big news of the day was that it appears as though 2 of the people who were injured, one of them who sadly died in this, did have injuries consistent with being shot, and obviously the jihadi himself wasn't carrying a gun, as far as we're aware, so it would suggest that there'd either been a ricochet or something had happened. And I think in light of that, I suppose, is it one of those things where, as bad and as awful as that must be for everyone involved, you still kind of have to support the armed police there for actually going to the CBD?
Absolutely. And I think it's very easy to sit in hindsight and judge either a member of the armed forces or an armed policeman, and they have a microsecond to make a very, very difficult decision. They thought he had a bomb. It was very credible. It was very reasonable. He was within feet of a crowded synagogue. I mean, I think they did amazingly within 7 minutes to take that chap down. So we don't know how the people got shot, if it was a ricochet or if it was through the doors of the synagogue, because people were pushed against the doors to stop. So we will hear, but no, I back our armed police 100%. Can
I just get the gentleman at the back, and then obviously we'll give Barry a bit of time here.
Does anybody else feel like in Starmer's speech the other day, not only did he not mention where the problem seems to be coming from,
he seemed to be almost blaming the far-right English for it. I thought there was definite undertones of that. They're not mentioning of what we all know the problem to be.
Well, he's quick enough.
It's
he's
rising
quick enough
again,
to call everything
these
far
types of
right.
things like, no, I think you're purposely misidentifying something there, it feels to me.
Interesting. Well, look, Barry, there's lots to go at here. I mean, can I put to you firstly, where is Keir Starmer on this? You know, he's not been out, he didn't want to go out, he kind of left David Lammy to go and be heckled by the local Manchester Jewish community there, didn't he? Is he showing enough leadership here?
Look, the first thing that anybody should say is about what happened today is about the people themselves and the people who've lost loved ones. They went to that synagogue to pray. They went on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar to pray. And that should have happened is horrendous. It is vile to think that that is going on in our society. And this is militant Islamic terrorism, and it has to be stopped.
One of them said that they thought, one of the heckles was that they felt as though that David Lammy had helped to enable this kind of stuff.
I think the difficulty with adopting that line is it actually equates a criticism of the Israeli government with anti-Semitism. And actually, if you read the Bucharest Declaration about anti-Semitism, the definition of it, it's very specific that it doesn't stop any criticism of the Israeli government on political grounds. But I spent the day, the first thing I had to do today as a local MP was to speak to the Inspector of Police to ensure that this weekend there would be additional security on my synagogues, and I have in my constituency the largest Jewish school in Europe, JFS. And to ensure that as those children came out of school this afternoon, there was a very large police presence, so those kids
Is it the same constituency where the former leader of Hamas was given a council house?
Felt safe. Look, I want to focus on the Jewish community at the moment, because they're the ones who are feeling desperately vulnerable, and they're the ones that need to be reassured about the protection that the police and the local community are going to give to them.
OK, all right. Just quickly on this. What do we make of that? Because the local Jewish community there in Manchester, at least, do appear to have told the Labour government how they feel about them.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Look, there will be people there that knew the victims, knew the families, and they've got every right to express themselves and express their anger. Again, I keep going back. This Labour government has appeased terrorists in Hamas by their actions. And it is I speak to a lot of Jewish people that would never vote Labour again until the day they die.
OK.
No. Well, Labour was found guilty of anti-Semitism, and I think there is a throwback to that time. I think these marches that happened immediately after the 7th of October, they've gone on for 2 years, and Jewish people, our fellow British citizens, are frightened, and Labour haven't done anything.
Just I know that Barry will probably say the Labour Party's moved on since then. Keir Starmer's done a bit to try to root that out. I get that that's the kind of Labour line on it.
Well, Patrick, what I would say is that there are anti-Semites in the Labour Party. Yes, there are. There's anti-Semites in every part of British society. And if we simply try and localise anti-Semitism, we're not understanding just how deeply that sort of racism and that sort of Jew hatred is ingrained in the wider population.
All right, OK. Now, look, I just want to read this because we mentioned some of the Facebook posts, didn't we, by Jihad's dad earlier on. In a Facebook post on the Al Shami's account today, he distanced the family from the attack. The family described it as a heinous act and distanced themselves from it. The news from Manchester regarding the terrorist attack targeting Jewish synagogues has been a profound shock to us. The Al Shami family in the UK and abroad strongly condemns the heinous attack, which targeted peaceful, innocent civilians. We are fully distancing ourselves from this attack and express our deep shock and sorrow over what has happened. Our hearts and thoughts are with the victims and their families, and we pray for their strength and comfort. They also then kindly ask us to respect the family's privacy. We've actually approached Mr Al Shami for comment regarding his posts about Hamas, Israel and the October 7th attacks. So we wait to hear from them.
Yeah, he didn't say that the October 7th attacks were a heinous attack when he should have done on October the 7th. And I think we can draw conclusions from that. And also, I understand that there are further 3 people who have been arrested tonight, so that there's now 6 people in custody in relation to this.
All right, well, look, I just want to remind ourselves of the poll of the day as well, which is today that we're asking, is the government doing enough to protect British Jews? You can scan that QR code on your screens right now. For all the latest polls, go to gbnews.com/poll.